Alright, we're doing another giveaway. $20 Amazon gift card for subscribers only. So if you're not a subscriber, make sure that you hit that big red subscribe button. And what we're going to do is we're giving away the $20 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is hit the like button right there. Give us the thumbs up and leave a comment. You'll be entered to win. We only had one winner yet. It was one winner for the EDC gear giveaway from CountyCom. So we're gonna re-raffle that stuff off at a later date. But for this one, $20 Amazon, free and clear. All you gotta do is, hit the like button and leave a comment.
Every generation or so, there's a feat of mechanical design and engineering. The firearms community really throws out some gems, and you get surprised from time to time. That's the Hi-Point C9. That's about a $100 pistol right there. This may or may not be one of those pistols. We're gonna find out. You guys know the deal. We're out here mixing up the ammo. We're using some of the Federal regular brass stuff, and then we have some of the aluminum case stuff. And the reason why I brought the aluminum out today is because that seems to be the one that most of my firearms have the biggest problem with in general. I'm not really sure why that is, if it has anything to do with maybe the firearm's not being clean, or if it's the ammo itself, I'm not sure. But we're switching it up, alternating back and forth, trying to see if we can jam this thing up. We shall see. Tactical reload. Jam. Double jam. Sometimes when you're in the zombie apocalypse, or you're just rolling through your hood with your homies, these little 8-rounders, not gonna cut it. You gotta go tactical. Woo! Sleek, ergonomic design. Factory reliability, high capacity magazine. What's not to love? I'm gonna throw a bullet at you. It's a piece of fine craftsmanship right there.
Yes, we are talking about Hi-Points. Don't go crazy in the comments just yet. Give it a chance. Watch all the way through, because we're going to do our due diligence on this and give it a fair assessment. This is the Hi-Point C9, and this is probably world-renowned for being one of the ugliest, heaviest guns on the market. But you know what? I don't think it's that bad looking. Some probably disagree. I'm sure they do, but it's okay. It's very plain looking. It's not dissimilar from the Glock line of guns as far as, aesthetics and how pretty it is. It's ugly, but it works, for the most part. So the Hi-Point C9 was really designed as the concealed carry offering by that company. I don't know that this would be something that you could carry very often or very long at all, to be honest, just because it's really girthy, and it's heavy, and I don't see you really sticking that inside your waistband. The sights, not too bad. They pick up relatively easy with that yellow on red. They're not the best, they're not even close to the best, but they're not bad for, daytime use and whatnot, and range shooting and stuff. It's okay. The first thing we really want to address with this is the one thing, the elephant in the room that everybody wants to, talk about, is the weight. Weight on this thing is 29 ounces, and that's a heavy deal. I mean, if you look amongst the other guns that are kind of in the same market, the single stack 9mm stuff, you got the Beretta Nano at 20 ounces. The XDS, 23 ounces, which is the closest one to the Hi-Point itself. So they're relatively comparable as far as, overall weight. The Shield, 19 ounces. Taurus 19 ounces, and the Walther CCP at 22.3 ounces. So this is the heaviest by far, especially in that market. But the one thing that you have to attribute that to, and one thing that High Point kind of designed it is this is a $100 pistol. So in getting to that price point, you really have to kind of, submit to certain limitations of the firearm. This heavy slide is what helps the recoil to rack another round. When it discharges and it fires one back, the heavy slide is what makes it, go forward and draws another round into the chamber. So that's kind of a reason why it's so heavy. Now, this is an American-made firearm. So when you're talking about the budget line of guns, see it says right there, Mansfield, Ohio. When you're talking about those cheaper line of guns or inexpensive guns, you're usually going to look at something being made outside of the country. Like, for example, Taurus, they're made in Brazil, and there's a million other companies made in, Turkey or any one of the Asian countries. There's a bunch of them out there. But this one's made in this country. So you get a little bit more, I guess, quality because it's being made by, American workers and stuff. And that's kind of a cool point when you're talking about pistols in general. Even though it does feel and look a little on the cheap side, it's still pretty cool. So we don't waste your time here. We're going to jump right into the pros and cons of this ordeal. All right, so the pros. Let's look at it. The price. It is $80 to $130 new. And, I mean, $80 is like the used price, really. And honestly, I'd probably rather get it used than new because when you get one used, usually you're going to get a bunch of stuff with it. That's just because the people that buy it, or if you ever send the gun in to be worked on, High Point is known for adding more magazines to the mix. So if you send a gun in to be worked on and it doesn't have a magazine, you may get 1 or 2 magazines for free sent back with it when it gets worked on. And that's kind of a cool thing. But the most that you're going to pay for one is $130 new. If you spend any more than that, then shame on you. But yeah, I mean, $80, that's really where it's going to be at. The resale value. That's a huge one because this gun is so cheap, it's really not going to be made any cheaper or, sold or bought any cheaper. You're not going to spend less than $80 to get one of these. If you sell this, if I was to shoot it a ton, send it in for work, blah, 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 and then resell it, it's still going to hold that value. So I spent $100 on this gun. I got it at my local gun shop, the Gettysburg Trading Post. And I spent $100 on it. And if I was to sell it tomorrow, I would probably still get $100 for it, just because they're really not going to go any less than that. You're not going to spend any less than a pair of shoes for a firearm, especially one made in America. As far as another pro, the home defense line, that's kind of a big one, just because I wouldn't ever really carry this, to be honest. That's just me. If you are in a tight budget, this could definitely be something that you could have to hold you over until you can afford another firearm. So if you have $100 lying around and you can't afford a Glock or a SIG or, whatever, an XD, then this could, kind of bide your time. You could spend $100 and get one of these and have it at your house for, emergency purposes until you can afford something else. And then sell this and use that money to purchase the one you really want. And, that's just a thing there. But another one, and I really count this as a pro, is annoying people. So if you go to a gun show or you go to your local shooting range or anything like that and you have a High Point on you, you may not be taken seriously. I'm going to forewarn you, just because this is kind of a dorky, heavy firearm, and a lot of guys are kind of snobs when it comes to pistols, especially when it comes to High Point pistols. These are kind of shunned. This is the redheaded stepchild of the firearm community. And I think it's always really funny to be walking around kind of joking with guys like, oh, what are you carrying today? Oh, I got a High Point C9. What? Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. And it's kind of funny to me. That's just me personally, because I have a lot of different firearms, but I just think it's funny to see people's reaction. Last one, lifetime warranty. That is probably the biggest one there. They have a no questions asked warranty with these things. So if anything breaks or you do something stupid with it or whatever the case may be, you can send it in and High Point will fix it for you for free. Not only will they fix it for free, like we said earlier, if you send it without a magazine, more than likely you're going to get 1 or 2 magazines for free when they send it back to you. I mean, how is that not a plus? I think that's pretty cool in general. All right, now to the cons of this, because we don't want to waste too much time talking about High Points. I know you guys get antsy, whenever you see that name. All right, we'll get to the cons. It's heavy, 29 ounces. I mean, that is a heavy pistol, and a lot of people are concerned about that. You want to know what 29 ounces feels like if you don't have a pistol on you or you don't know the weight? Go pick up a can of, tomato paste or tomato sauce right there. I mean, this thing is at, where are we at here? 24 ounces is how much fluid is in there. So I'm going to give it about 5 ounces of jar weight and say this is close to in the ballpark of 29 ounces. So go in your cabinet, pick one of these up, and pick up any sauce container that has, you know, tomato sauce in it. And that's basically what it feels like to hold a high point. It's pretty heavy. You know, it's not customizable. There are some people online, if you Google pictures and you check them out, there are some people that do crazy things to these, but as an overall whole, the biggest thing you're going to be able to customize is the grip. I mean, you could probably take these grip panels off and get some aftermarket colored grips, but that's about it. I mean, these sights are not going anywhere. You're not going to throw any night sights on this thing, and you're not really going to take them off and do anything spectacular with them. So as far as customizability, you're basically stuck with how it looks right there. And that's 50-50 reliability. That's a big one for a lot of people, and it should be. Reliability is a huge ordeal when you have a pistol and you're defending your life with it. This one, I would say I've had about 75 to 80% reliability with this. Has it jammed? Yes, it has jammed. But you know what? That's also a large part my fault. And the reason why, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, you probably won't, I have not cleaned this thing, not once ever. When I bought it used, it was dirty. It wasn't, you know, cleaned or anything like that. So the guy that was shooting it before me, he put a ton of rounds through it, and it was getting hung up in here right there on the feed ramp. And if I have polished that and cleaned it really, really well, the reliability may be different. As far as that is concerned, when we're talking about this thing, if I had cleaned this, it probably would have been more reliable. So the 80% reliability that I've experienced with it may have been better. Who knows? But as far as that's concerned, generally speaking, these things are kind of float around the internet as unreliable firearms. I don't know that that's totally the case. Maybe with some people. You can comment below if you think that is the case or you have experience with that. We've already kind of gone over that. It does feel a little cheap. You know, the pieces and the stuff that put it together just doesn't really look like it's a high quality firearm, and it's not supposed to look that way because you only spent $130 at most on this thing. So yes, it is going to feel a little cheap. This slide is not made of steel. It's made of some zinc alloy. And a lot of people freak out about that because they think that it's going to melt with, you know, the heat of firing a bunch of rounds through it. That is not the case. The zinc that they use to put this together, it really doesn't melt until like the 700 or 750 degree temperature. So it's not going to happen. Unless you throw this in a fire or in a melting pot of some kind, you're not going to melt the slide. So don't freak out about it. Magazine disconnect. That's a big one for me. I don't like that. I think that's kind of, and I may be wrong about this, I think that's one of those California compliant ordeals and all those, you know, unfriendly gun states. What that is when you have the magazine not in the gun and you want to pull the trigger, it does not go off. There's a little lever in there that when you put the magazine in, let's see, I'll put pressure on the trigger. It is empty, just for those of you who are freaking out about it. There is, let's see, I'm putting pressure on the trigger and I'm sliding the magazine in. It's not even all the way in, but that little lever is triggered by putting the magazine in, and then it goes off. So if you were to have one round in the chamber, or you had a hang up or something, and you drop the magazine, and you have a bad guy in the house, and you're freaking out or whatever, and you go to pull the trigger, you're out of luck because the magazine has to be in there for it to go off. That is kind of an issue for me. I don't like that. A lot of guns don't do that. There are some that have it. I don't count it as a benefit at all. So maybe some people think it is. That's just not me. The last thing on the list, it annoys people. So yes, we did have that as a pro previously in the pros list. That's also kind of a negative because if you take this to a gun range or to a gun show and a bunch of people are there with you, they are not going to take you seriously. They're going to look at you and say, oh, and then roll their eyes, and that's kind of, you know, a thing. No conversation you have after that is going to have any weight to it because people are going to be like, this guy drives a high point or has a high point. You know, it's just, it's not going to happen, and that's kind of a negative for some people. I personally don't care what other people think. I don't need to be part of the conversation, so it doesn't bother me, but it may bother you. So you have to, you know, count that as a con for some people. Now, overall, would I purchase this firearm again? Yes, I absolutely would. Why? Because one, it is just a fun gun to go shoot, guys. Honestly, it's really just cool. And it's stupid looking, but you know what? I don't mind it. You can go and take this thing out to the range and throw it in the mud, beat it up, throw rocks at it, whatever you want to do. If you want to throw it over the boat with a rope tied to the trigger guard, you can do that, and you don't have to worry about it because it only costs you $100. You know, it's a cool gun to just kind of have in the arsenal as a backup to the backup, whatever. You know, it's just kind of neat. And You know, for a lifetime warranty with a pistol like this, why wouldn't you spend $100 on it? I mean, I'm pretty certain, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm pretty certain $100 is relatively easy for people to come by. So to go spend $100 on a firearm that goes bang most of the time, more times than it doesn't, worth it. Now we got to address the accessories. This one, when I said I bought it for $100, I mean, that was a good deal in my opinion. I mean, that's really what I'm saying. Like when you go and you spend $100 that you have lying around for a rainy day, or, you know, for a nice dinner out, and you say you skip that dinner and you make that dinner for your wife or your girlfriend or forever, whoever, you make it at home, and you can go buy one of these pistols for $100. And look at all the stuff I got 3 of these magazines. The others are in the back in my bedroom or whatever. But I mean, you get a couple of magazines with this thing. You get a tool. And this one came with this cool holster. Now, this isn't the best holster. It's very stupid looking, just like, you know, a lot of the stuff that you get when you buy a High Point. But it's got, you know, kind of ergonomic features. I've got to say, as far as the holsters go with this, I really love how this is shaped for your hip. This is a very, very comfortable holster to carry. Not that you're ever going to carry this thing, but that's really cool. I love that they did that because it feels really nice when it's sitting against your hip. You really don't notice it. It conforms to it. Now, as far as being a lefty, you're kind of out of luck there, but you know what? I don't care because I only spent $100 on it. And it's just like this felt material, it says High Point on it. And this is an older model, I believe, because my friend has one of these, and his gun did not come with any of that stuff. It came in like a cardboard box and whatnot. So you may not get this exact model with all this exact features, but if you find one like that and you only spend $100 on it, what are you complaining about? You got a pistol, you got a holster, you got a bunch of magazines and a tool, and you get this cool High Point polymer box. Worth it. I mean, that's worth it to me. Most guns these days, the shield costs $350 and it doesn't even come with a plastic box. So, I mean, there's something to be said for that. Just, you know, throwing it out there. Alright guys, like, comment, and subscribe. We got a lot of stuff coming down the pike and a lot of giveaways coming up, so make sure you're subscribed so you get an opportunity to jump in on all that stuff. Alright, later.